Hey, what's going on? My name is Tyler, and my channel is called Dark Link Duck. Now, I'm here today to respond to Game Theory's video they did with Reggie. The video is just called, well, I'll let it speak for itself. It's more, should Nintendo go third party? And, I have no problem with MatPat. I think he's a great guy. I actually watch Game Theory. I wouldn't say I'm religious about it, but I am subscribed to his channel. I do enjoy it quite a bit. My main issue really comes with really what Reggie said and how he really reacted. The whole thing seems kind of scripted, and you know, I understand that MatPat probably had to sign a non-disclosure agreement with Nintendo to even get Reggie on the show, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it looks like MatPat just kept throwing him softballs, so I'm just gonna kind of go through the video and really pick through the things that I disagree with, okay?
First, as a big fan of Nintendo, it is an honor to have you back on the show, Reggie.
Glad to be back here again, Matt. I'm surprised you wanted me back considering how I trounced you in the last debate about motion controls.
Oh. So that's the way it's gonna be, huh? All right, well, let's be honest here, Reggie. 56% to 44% is hardly a shutout. That's only, what, 12%? Not even close to the spike Nintendo stock saw in 2015 when the company first announced it was gonna be making games for mobile devices. That was 24%. In fact, as COO of Nintendo of America, you probably follow percentages pretty closely, so here's another one. In 2016, Nintendo stock was up over 50%, not in a console release year. In fact, in a year without a console release, Nintendo stock is at its highest point since 2011, with a big part of that coming from your decision to develop games for mobile platforms. Whereas, when you unveiled the Nintendo Switch in October, Nintendo stocks dropped by 7%. It's not the most auspicious start there, Reggie.
MatPat brings up Nintendo stock prices and the fact that they went up when it was announced that Nintendo would develop for smartphones. He also brings up that when Nintendo announced the Switch, their stock prices actually decreased. Now, look at how Reggie responds to this.
Starting this debate with hard numbers, Matt, stock prices? Seems like the gloves are off.
Last time the comments thought I was a bit soft on you, so I'm going full on Little Mac, not pulling any punches this time. And let me be clear, I don't relish starting a debate with a bunch of business numbers, but this is a fight about Nintendo's big-time business decisions. Nintendo is the company that has made gaming what it is today, and what you do for the industry is important. So we just want you to be around for a long time. So when numbers like this show that you can be successful without needing your own console, well, it's something worth noting, Reggie.
Well, Matt, you just made a lot of my arguments for me. As you just said, what Nintendo does for the industry is important. It's what we take pride in, innovating the world of video games, pushing the industry forward. And a big part of that is by creating unique hardware that allows for more unique gaming experiences. The biggest and most obvious example of this is the Wii. The Wii introduced tracking system and accelerometer to make controlling a game go simply beyond pressing a button. And we did this all at a price point that most families could afford. By taking a risk, Nintendo was able to introduce the world to a new way of playing no one had ever considered. It made gamers out of people who had never touched a controller before.
Okay, stop. The Wii made gamers out of people who held a controller for what? A month? And among those people, very few continued with the Wii. Most of them stopped. How many people did you know that bought a Wii for their kids or bought a Wii for exercise, and that thing is collecting dust in their basement? Not even plugged into a TV. Reggie, the Wii is a terrible, terrible example. And I get it was a financial success for Nintendo. You sold 150 million units and you sold them for a profit. But to say that they turned people into gamers is very, very misleading. I mean, even look at the sales of the Wii U. That's how many people transferred in. It went from 150 million units to 13 million units. All right, let's play the video again.
In fact, a lot of elements considered standard today for the way you control and play games were either invented or made mainstream by Nintendo. The D-pad, start, select, saving, portable gaming, shoulder buttons, thumbsticks, rumble, wireless controllers, touchscreen gaming, motion controls, 3D gaming.
Okay, stop. Did you just say 3D gaming? 3D gaming? Okay. 3D gaming, the thing that Sony did in 2009 for like 30 minutes and then quit. How many 3D games do you own for a console? Oh, I own none. The only 3D games that I own are for the Nintendo 3DS because it was a stupid gimmick. Really, Reggie? Fucking really?
Augmented reality and asymmetrical gaming.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say asymmetrical gaming is the norm? Last time I checked, you're scrapping asymmetrical gaming to go to the Switch. How would you even get that was the norm, Reggie? That doesn't even make any sense. It sounds like you're just trying to sell Wii U's in this little scenario right now.
Even endeavors that some gamers consider non-starters, like the Virtual Boy, were pursuing concepts decades ahead of its time.
Okay, I will give you the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy is all yours. VR was the future, and looks like VR is going to be the future in gaming. I will give you the Virtual Boy. You can have that one, Reggie.
Thanks for the monologue, Reggie. Thanks for giving me a chance to talk there. Thanks for that. Speaking of the Virtual Boy, I did see you on Twitter the other day with one. Facebook has Oculus, Google has Daydream, Nintendo returns to VR market with the Virtual Boy 2.0. You can even add a new color, green. It'll be like Christmas.
We don't joke about Virtual Boy, man. It's listening.
Well, that was weird.
Without taking risks, the gaming industry could stagnate, and innovations might simply stay at, what's the best graphics card we could put into this? Instead of, how can we create a more unique gaming experience?
Oh, so, instead of actually trying to compete with other companies, you can just make up more gimmicks. That makes perfect sense, Reggie. So, instead of actually trying to get third-party games, we can just, maybe add a balloon sort of peripheral to the Wii U. Maybe so it'll float away and we'll never have to play it again. Oh my god, is that a stupid argument?
It's our goal to change how the world thinks of console gaming, and we'll be doing it again with the release of the Nintendo Switch. A console that delivers entirely new ways to play wherever and whenever people want.
I really want to make this disclaimer right now. I really want the Switch to do well. I really want to own a Nintendo Switch, and I am all for the concept behind it, bringing the console portable, console quality on the go. I'm all for that.
What you're saying makes a lot of sense, sure, and I agree with all of it, but you're assuming that Nintendo needs hardware to innovate new games. Games like Super Mario Run and its use of existing technology to make a completely new version of a classic game are proof that Nintendo can still bring new ideas to the table without creating its own hardware. Plus, you could just produce the peripherals. USB systems don't make it particularly difficult to create hardware that can plug into a port and then just be ready to go with a little setup. Guitar Hero, Rock Band both did a great job of doing it in the past.
MatPat's argument is one of the best arguments I have ever seen for Nintendo to go third party. I agree with every single point, and look how Reggie responds to it.
Certainly, but when Nintendo creates a console, we're not just thinking about creating the next generation of an easy-to-use gaming computer. We're rethinking the way you play games. That's what differentiates Nintendo from the rest of the market, no matter what platform we're talking about. Take Nintendo Switch. It combines the power of a home console with the mobility of a handheld. But take a closer look at the Joy-Con controllers. Controllers are how you interact with your games. So we've always worked hard to get this right. And the Joy-Con controllers that come with Nintendo Switch are truly amazing. Each Joy-Con has a control stick, gyroscope, and accelerometer. They can be used together or as a fully functioning standalone controller for multiplayer. Plus, they include additional technology, such as an improved HD rumble, an NFC touchpoint, and an IR motion camera. We are introducing the world to new experiences made possible by the unique characters of the Nintendo Switch hardware and Joy-Con.
Wasn't one of the biggest problems with the 3DS the lack of a second joystick? Good luck trying to play local shooters with a one joystick controller.
Well, don't get me wrong, Reggie. I love innovation, but I also love games. And it seems like the two are sometimes at odds with each other. Case in point, the Wii U. Sure, Super Smash Bros. And Super Mario Maker were great, but they were also Nintendo-made games. Overall, the asymmetric system was difficult for third parties to wrap their heads around, and as a result, they didn't really develop material for it. Games were slow to port over, if at all. As a result, gamers are being put into positions where they're spending hundreds of dollars for a new console just to play the next installments of their favorite Nintendo franchises. But then they're left with a console that gathers dust in between Nintendo's big yearly releases. It's a vicious cycle, Reggie. Poor third-party support makes Nintendo consoles less attractive to players, which reduces sales. Reduced sales means it's harder to get third-party support, and gaming is an expensive hobby already these days. Most people don't exactly want to shell out a few $100 just to obtain the hardware necessary to play a few select titles.
I just want to say that everything MatPat says here, I agree with as well. I think this is the truth that Nintendo is desperately trying to avoid. Nintendo wants to ignore and act like this doesn't exist, and they need to hear this. But just look at how Reggie responds to this.
Well, Matt, we don't want to prevent gamers from having access to our games. That's a large part of why we try to keep our consoles at a lower, more manageable price for consumers relative to others.
But don't you see, Reggie, that's the problem. The problem is that you're making your console low cost so it cannot compete with the other consoles. You're not going to get the third-party releases on outdated hardware, Reggie.
With the Nintendo Switch, we're dedicated to creating a steady flow of games, both first and third party, at launch and through the holiday and beyond.
Sure, and I'll concede that we're trying to simplify some complex economic ideas here, but considering that almost every manufacturer loses money on the consoles and then recoups that cost on their games, then why not remove that risk entirely and just bring games over to someplace like Steam? We could see The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild pop up on the Steam Store's front page, featured on the PSN or on the Xbox Live. You're making the Nintendo brand of games more accessible in more homes. Other than the Wii, which is an impressive but outlying data point, Reggie, the N64 sold 33 million units to the PlayStation's 110 million. The GameCube clocked in at about 22 million, and the PS2 sold over 150. Fast forward to today, and there have only been about 13 million Wii U sold, only just surpassing the Dreamcast. The PS4, though, is in 50 million homes, the Xbox One, 25. I'm sure many of those gamers would love to play the latest Zelda or Mario game, but never will because they've already spent their allotted budget on those consoles for this generation.
Maybe. But Nintendo doesn't just stand for innovation in gaming. It stands for creating a safe place in gaming. By producing the console, we're able to help shape a positive gaming experience for anyone picking up a controller. Not only our biggest fans, but also for families and kids. Nintendo Switch will have parental controls similar to what we have on Nintendo 3DS and Wii U.
You heard it here, folks. Fucking parental controls. Yep, that's the reason, because, Sony or Xbox, they don't have that. They don't have parental controls on their console. No, Microsoft and Sony, they don't know what that is. They don't have anything. No, Nintendo, they have to make their own parental controls, because they have to make sure they micromanage it. I can't believe he fucking said that. That just mind boggles. Like, MatPat brought up all these good statistics. He brought up the fact of sales and how it's not getting into the homes, and his reaction of why the Wii U failed, and why gamers just really want this into the home, and why we want to see a Mario on a PS4, because it would be nice. It wouldn't make us get a second system just to play Nintendo games. And the reaction back, the answer to that question, the answer is fucking parental controls. This is what caused me to make this video. This point right here is the sole reason I am making this video right now. Reggie Fils-Aimé, I don't even know if we need to watch anymore. He does not care about the average consumer. He does not care about you. That is what I'm trying to get across. Let's try and finish this up. All right.
But with the Nintendo Switch, we'll also have a parental control app that'll allow parents to set daily limits on how long the system can be played, view the games that have been played on the system, and for how long. Parents can even set a cutoff time, such as no gaming allowed after 9 p.m.
Oh, that wouldn't fly if I was a kid. Just saying. Sneaking down into the basement to play more.
And if you're worried about third-party support for our systems, don't. We recognize that delivering a wide catalog from the top third-party publishers is essential to creating a competitive console in today's market. And with the Nintendo Switch, we're looking forward to broad third-party support from top developers and publishers, including Activision, EA, Take-Two Interactive, Ubisoft, and more. Did you notice that Bethesda is joining Nintendo for the first time? Nintendo Switch players will be seeing some of their favorite franchises, like The Elder Scrolls, NBA 2K, Minecraft, and more. We just announced that over 80 games are in development by our third-party partners. Mic drop.
Don't take what I've said as me wanting Nintendo to go out of business. Quite the contrary. One, this is just the side I have to argue because it's the format of the show,
And there we go. MatPat didn't mean anything he said. He was just playing devil's advocate. This right here makes me believe that MatPat had to sign a non-disclosure agreement even to get Reggie on the show.
Two, I gotta grill you because I need Nintendo to be around for a long time. I mean, I don't know if you're a loyal theorist or anything, Reggie. We'll just move past that one then. But we do cover a few of your games around here, so I'm just saying. All I'm trying to point out is that the console game is the single riskiest one in all of gaming. Case in point, after years of fighting and losing in the console wars, Sega was down and out, losing money every year. But the year after they bowed out of the hardware business and went purely into developing games, they finally turned their first profit again.
Well, Nintendo's been around for over 100 years, and it's my job to make sure we're around for many years to come. Well, we appreciate your concern, Matt, and the concern of all the gamers out there. Rest assured Nintendo's doing just fine. You just worry about Ganon or Bowser.
Because no, Nintendo's never made any short-sighted business decisions in the past, and they've never made any mistakes. The Wii U. Really, Reggie? We should just not worry about one of our favorite companies and just let this all go? Oh my god.
Let us worry about the business. And more importantly, let us have the privilege of bringing great experiences to gamers everywhere with the launch of Nintendo Switch. We can't wait.
It's hard to argue with that. But I guess my last point here is that the landscape of gaming is changing. Can the Nintendo Switch, as a portable, dedicated gaming device, stay relevant in the face of the still ongoing smartphone revolution? Can any compete when smartphones and PCs seem like they're taking over every area of technology, from our games to our TVs and more? I guess the question isn't whether Nintendo should stop making consoles, but whether we're entering an era where the idea of a console is a thing of the past. You say that Nintendo has been innovating by bringing new ideas into their consoles. I'm inclined to agree. But as technology evolves around us, is this Nintendo's chance to continue innovating in a whole new way, by being a trailblazer into a new era for the industry that puts new and unique gaming experiences on all consoles, not just their own?
I just want to say the way they did this, it made it look like they were framing the video to say you're either for the Switch or against it. Now, I personally want the Switch to do well, and I'm afraid it won't. And if the Switch doesn't do well, will Nintendo have to go third party? The main thing I wanted to put out in this video is Reggie's attitude. I don't think Reggie cares about you as a gamer. His sort of flippant attitude and just flippantness in general to all of MatPat's concerns and everything he says is honestly kind of concerning for me. It kind of shows Nintendo as a company that doesn't listen to the fans, that thinks that they're above the fans, that the fans don't know what they're talking about. You see how his closing remark is, you know, why don't you go worry about Ganon or Bowser? We'll do what we have to do. That's not your concern. We're Nintendo. You're some kid. You don't know what you're talking about. That really rubs me the wrong way. And the fact that, you know, once he brought up an argument of, you know, maybe Nintendo should, he brings up parental controls. Parental controls, how is that even an argument? That's not an argument. That doesn't even make sense. This whole video rubs me the wrong way, and it's not Game Theory's fault. It's not MatPat's fault. I firmly believe that MatPat was forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement to even have Reggie on the show. And I believe, you know, it's good numbers. I mean, I would love to have Reggie on the show, even if I had to sign an NDA. I would get tons and tons of views. And he's done this. This is the second time. I agree with MatPat. I agree with him perfectly. I don't even think he's trying to play devil's advocate, but I believe because of some legally blinding agreement, he has to say that. And I think it's kind of shameful of Nintendo to pull these tricks. You know. Alright. This is Tyler, Darklink Duck. Hope you guys have a nice day. Please subscribe. I'm new to YouTube. Please give me a like. I would really, really appreciate that. Alright. Peace the fuck out.